Hi and welcome back to the channel. I've been meaning to do this video for quite a few months now, and that is to go through the history of this particular Rover P4 from 1961. I'm fortunate enough to have a folder full of MOT certificates, not from the first one but certainly from 1976 all up to the current day. And also a great big wedge of invoices, work carried out up to a few years ago. Also a little pictorial history of what's been done to the car throughout its life, including work and some outings that the previous owner had. So what I plan to do is go through all the history. I'll put some photos where relevant to some of the work that's been done, and also at the end I'll put all of the photographs together into a gallery. So if you're just interested in looking at that, skip to the end of the video where you can see all the pictures. So what I'm going to do now is I'll put the Rover away, sit in the garage where it's less noisy and warmer, and we'll go through all the work. Okay, how I plan to tackle this is to go through the ownership records and try and decipher who owned it and when. A little bit of it's a bit hazy, so I've had to deduce it from some of the records I've got. Also, I'll go through the mileage covered by each owner and where relevant, the service history that they had and how much has been spent on the car, and that's particularly relevant to the owner before me, the fifth owner, who kept very good records. So let's have a look at the ownership history and the service records. Now there's no, as I said, there's no service history or any records at all from the first owner. He covered 62,400 miles, give or take, before he passed it on in 1976 to the second owner, again from Northants. And the service history begins in February 1976, where he had a 6,000 mile B service and tune, which looks as though it was just after he took ownership of the car. Then 7 months later, in September 76, he had a 3,000 mile A service, antifreeze and a fan belt fitted. In 77, April, he had a 6,000 mile B service again. Then again in September, a 3,000 mile A service. And this goes on. Every year he had a 6,000 mile service, and dependent on the amount of miles he did, occasionally during the same year he had another A service. Then in 1979 he had 4 brand new tyres fitted, for which I have the receipt. Then we go to 79 and another 6,000 mile B service, and also a set of headlamp bodies. We go to August 1980, a 12,000 mile C service and wheel bearings were fitted. In 81, another 6,000 mile B service, and it was tuned and had brakes and also a wheel bearing. We go to 82, 6,000 mile B service, and the brakes were seizing up a little bit, so he had that rectified. Then in 1982 he had a set of 2 new rear tyres fitted, and in 84 a new battery. In total, over his from 76, 8 years of ownership, he covered 31,270 miles. So the third owner got the car in 1985/6. I'm not 100% certain about that, but I have nearly all of the MOT certificates from that particular owner, again from Northants. And he sold the car in 1998, so in 12/13 years of his ownership, he only covered 5,700 miles. So not a lot really. So now we come to the fourth owner, and he owned the car until 2001, and I have the MOT certificates from that period of time, but only one invoice, and that was for oil filter, petrol pump, engine mounting, radiator hose and clips and battery terminals at a cost of £140. And he only covered in less than 3 years 163 miles. So we come on to the fifth owner, and this is where we have really comprehensive service records, and he kept a photographic history of the car and the work done. So what I plan to do is, as I said at the start, I'll put all of these photographs in a little gallery at the end of the video, and if there's any relevant to some of the work that was carried out, I might put them in as I'm talking, so you can see the jobs that were carried out and some of the photographic records from that particular period. So although I'm not going to show or name this current owner, he did keep brilliant records, and it's really a testament to his ownership and how he looked after the car and improved it over his period of ownership, which was from 2001 up until last year. So I had to think long and hard about how much detail I wanted to go through on the fifth owner, because the guy spent quite a lot on servicing and having work done on the car, but I thought I would, because it gives you an insight into how much it could possibly cost to own and use over his 20,500 miles over, what is it, 21 years. And he obviously really enjoyed the car, and it really is a testament to his ownership of how he looked after it. So I'll go through everything, and I'll put in a photograph as it relates to any work that's been done, and also there's a gallery at the end of the video where it'll show all the photographs. So grab a cup of coffee, a beer, a whiskey, or whatever is your favourite tipple, and we'll go through it. I hope it's not too boring for you, but I think it's interesting, and really I want it as part of a record of my ownership, and this video will be looked at, I suppose, in the future, and it'll go with the car if and when I sell it. So I'd have to put my specs on because it makes my reading a bit better. Okay, if you want to stop the video at any time and go back over if I'm going through this a bit too quickly, but I will summarise at the end. So I do have a picture which I'll put up now of when the guy first bought the car, and it's parked up, and one interesting thing I noted is that the car's only got 2 badges now, whereas in that photograph I have here there's about five badges, I think. I think the photograph's a little bit too... I don't think there's enough clarity in the photograph for me to expand it and find out what the badges are, but I'm happy with the 2 I've got. So, beginning in 2001. Now, he owned the car from 28th of July 2001, so only a few months afterwards, and he had, in November, a new water pump, gasket, rear springs and rear brake shoes fitted. And most of this work was done by a company in Birmingham who are no longer in business, but he had nearly all of the work done by them. And the total for all of that work was £886. In 2002, In March he had new front discs, pads, pins, repair a blowing exhaust manifold, a new point condenser and low tension leads at a total cost of £342. In July of 2002 it failed on the rear brakes, which were fixed. A refit inner suspension ball rubbers. That work cost £182. Then we go on to, in the same year, in November, the radiator had a pressure test and was found to have a leaky core. So he must have had a radiator come with the car because it says refit old radiator. Then there was a rewire on the near side flash unit and replacing the rear stainless steel trim. Total for that was £179. There was service parts and sill rubbers, and that was a total of £141. So in total in 2002 that's £844 in servicing and maintenance. Now we go on to 2003. In April he had a new valance panel fitted, and there was removal of the lower offside hinge at the front of the car and rebuild. So then he said remove rotten metal from the A-post, also lower sill repair and paint match, and also refurbish dynamo. That was quite a big bill, and it came to £1,675. Then we move on to May in the same year, 2003. Replace failed near side wheel cylinder, bleed brakes, plus a few other parts. Total of £183. So in 2003 we've got a total spend of £1,858. So 2004, in April he had points condenser fitted, check gearbox oil and rear axle oil, and top up if necessary, and a sleeve on the exhaust to repair it, and rebush the handbrake due to wear. Total £190. So in September of 2004 we had adjust the rear brakes, and there's a problem with the rear light, so that was fixed. Repair of the near side lower front wing, outrigger, lower A-post, fit a replacement radiator, and this is a theme throughout the ownership of this car under this owner, was that there was about 3 or 4 different times that the radiator was either repaired or fitted with a replacement unit. So yeah, fit replacement radiator. So parts bought were boot seal, front screen seal, radiator and block drain taps. So total for that was £452. So in total in 2004 he spent £642. Moving on to 2005, a new handbrake assembly in April, and make a stainless steel pivot pin, £184. In July, flush the cooling system, replace the radiator with a recon unit. As I said in the previous year, he had a similar thing done, plus an oil change. Total £325. So in 2005 he spent £409. £409. So just grab a drink of coffee, because it's making my throat dry going through all of this. So in 2006, in June, fit new top link bushes, refurbish both kingpins, fit new engine mounts, adjust and set clutch, adjust the driver's door, locate and fix a water leak, and set the tappets. And there was a note on the invoice that says near side front outrigger is poorly repaired and covers a body mount. So he didn't have that work done, it was just noted. And the total for all of that work was £563. In June We had remove exhaust downpipe and broken stud and replace. Weld hole in the downpipe. Remove clutch shaft bearing outer, which was worn, and replace with free issue unit. I'm not sure what that, I know we got it free, but I'm not sure why. Anyway, total for that work was £165. Right, in September of 2006, there was a problem with one of the lights at the front of the car, and the wire had burnt through. So I had to fix that and refit a new light. Then adjust rear brakes because of an MOT fail. And there's another caution which was issued on that particular MOT certificate that said both rear sill members badly corroded behind the lower rear door hinges. Although that work wasn't done under this particular invoice, the total for that invoice was £244. And the total for 2006 on his spend was £968. And this was quite a big one, this particular invoice, for 2007 it was quite a big spend in this year. So in March, they had reset and shim the kingpins, and this new distributor cap, points, condenser, HT leads, reset the tappets and reseal the exhaust to the manifold. And he had this problem. I understand it's quite a common issue with the Rover P4, particularly the engine I've got, in that you can get warpage in the, certainly if you take the exhaust manifold off, it's a pig to get to fit again. So anyway, resealed the exhaust manifold. Total cost in March was £375. So in July he decided to get all the bodywork pretty much fixed from the warnings on the MOT certificate and advice from the garage. So he replaced the near side sill section and B and C post repair, replaced body mounts, offside sill section repair, BC post repair, A post repair, repair rear D post section, replace offside front outrigger, readjust rear brakes, red oxide and underseal the repairs, remove and cut out all rust and replace with good metal. So this was, although it wasn't expensive in parts, the labour cost was quite high, and in total that bill was £2,125, and the total spend for 2007 was £2,500. So this is what I say. He certainly liked the car and he wanted to keep it in good condition. So I suppose, if you want to look at it in one way, there was possibly a justification, although I wouldn't have done it, to get rid of the car or scrap it or cut your losses. But as I say, it's a testament to him that he had this work done. So we get to 2008, and in September he had repair near side rear chassis, remove bad metal and replace. Replace the near side front lower spring plate and shock absorber, plus an MOT, total 724. In September of the same year, so a few weeks later, he fitted, or had fitted, new seals to the offside rear wheel cylinder, replaced master cylinder, make and fit new brake pipe from the master cylinder to the three-way junction, and fit new rear brake shoes. £429 for that one. So total in 2008 of £1,153. So we're getting towards the end, so it's still a good few years to go yet. So in 2009, in May, we had the supply and fit of a fully reconditioned steering box, drain the gearbox and back axle and fill with new oil. All front rubber bushes were perished, so replace them. Both kingpins were leaking oil and the offside was partially seized. There was no more adjustment in the clutch and a new solenoid was fitted. Total £430. So in June of 2009, this is pretty much a word for word from the invoice, and that was strip the front suspension and brakes, steam clean and reassemble with the following new parts. Also adjust the clutch and tracking afterwards. So the new parts were 2 top kingpin thrust bearings and shims, 2 kingpin gasket kits and cotter pins, 2 radius arm balls, 8 upper and lower bushes, 2 lower bush pins, anti-roll bar bush bolts and washer kit, 1 good used front shock absorber, 1 upper cone and bump stop, 2 front hub lock washers, brake master cylinder repair kit, brake fluid and various nuts and bolts and washers. Total £545. So in 2009 the total for the repair and maintenance was £975. What I've just gone through from 2001 up to 2009, there was a lot of maintenance in there and repairs, as you can see. And from 2010 onwards, things were a little bit easier, I suppose. I don't think he was doing as many miles, but I'll go through them anyway. 2010, the only invoice I've got is for oil seals at £12. Then in 2011, you've got oil seal kit, sump gasket, clutch and pressure plate, and the total for 2011, £232. In 2012, there's 2 bills here for a carburettor. In August, strip and clean and tune the Solex carburettor, and September, reconditioned Solex was fitted at £90. So in total for 2012, we've got £130. 2013, just a very small amount of £24 for exhaust gasket, studs and nuts. 2014, 4 new Federal tyres were fitted, and in May some seals were fitted. Total for that lot was £349. 2015, a relay for £90. 2017, brake pipe flexi hose, caliper pipes, offside front bumper iron was fitted for £114. 2019, and this is the final one, is prep and weld rear bump stops for £100. So as you can see, the car has been very well looked after and enjoyed by the previous owner, who was in fact a member of the Rover P4 Guild. And I do know that there are quite a few members there who remember the chap that owned it. Yeah, as I said before, and I will say it again, because I don't mind repeating it, that the car is a real testament to him. And I've got the basis of a really good car, which I will carry on improving and getting up to as good a standards as I can. So to sum up his ownership, he owned it over 20,400 miles during 20 years of ownership. The total spent on maintenance and restoration of the car in total is £11,431. There is an estimate from 2004 for a full respray to the original colour. Now, I don't have an invoice for that work, but there is evidence from the car that it was resprayed, and if we include that work, which was a total of £2,155 on the estimate, we do have a total of £13,586 spent during his ownership. The aim in my ownership of the car is to enjoy it, carry on maintaining it and improving it where it needs improving. I've gone through some of the jobs that I'm going to be doing in the future, and I'll be covering those in future videos. So, you know, it's going to be a record, and I'll keep any costs and MOT certificates as part of the history file. So, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I know it's a bit of me waffling a lot and spouting what's been done and figures here, there and everywhere, but I think it's interesting to see what you'd possibly have to spend to own one of these cars. I'm not saying all of them, because I think from the owner 3 and owner 4, I don't think a lot of money was spent on it. I might be wrong, but having had to have such amounts of bodywork done suggests that some work that should have been done under that ownership wasn't, and so the 5th owner had to either have the work done, or it would just be lost. The car would be lost. So if you want to see more videos on the Rover P4 and the work that I'm going to have done, most of which I'll be doing myself if I can, please stay tuned and look out for future videos on my Rover P4. And if you're wondering what this is I'm sitting in front of, this is a longer term project, and that's my 1968 Lotus Elan S4 SE. So if you're interested in this one, it's a totally different prospect to the Rover P4. There is a continuing set of videos on this car and what I'm doing to it. So I think I'll wrap up there, because this has gone on long enough now. I'm sure you're bored of hearing my voice. So please like, please subscribe, and there'll be lots more on the Rover, and if you're interested on the Lotus to come. So okay, thanks and bye.